What's up everybody, Coach Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Valorant video, and in this video we're going to be breaking down how you can master the Phantom for easy wins, tons of kills and impact. And if you incorporate all these strategies, you're going to be able to carry your trash friends all the way up to Platinum, Diamond, Immortal, and beyond. So let's jump into it, but before we do, the Game Leap website is the one-stop shop. If you want to click every head, master any agent, in-depth map guides, mechanical guides, I mean we got it all at the Game Leap website. So do yourself a favor, go check it out in the links down below. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now, right off the bat, let's break down some of the statistics of the Phantom and some important counter statistics that you can learn up against other guns so you know exactly what gun has the advantage at certain ranges. So right off the bat, from that 0 to 50 meters in the body, the Phantom is going to do 429 damage in a second. And this is an important number for us because we can cross-reference this with some other guns from the same distance, so we can see exactly how we would either win or lose a matchup depending on how we approach a certain gunfight. Now let's directly compare the Phantom that, remember, from 0 to 15 does 429 damage to a Stinger from slightly longer ranges does actual 486 damage to the body because it does 27 damage and it fires 18 bullets a second instead of the 11 rounds per second of the Phantom. And at 20 or less meters, if you can hit your shots, you're gonna actually be able to annihilate someone, doing actually over 50 more damage per second. Now, as far as takeaways are concerned, yes, you could hypothetically just headshot an enemy if they swing you really close, but if you don't, you're probably going to lose that matchup, and it can be very difficult to headshot a Stinger player because they're moving so rapidly. This means either one, you need to be playing for the headshot in this matchup where you position yourself to have your crosshair near where they would swing out to. You don't swing out the enemy and try to counter strafe or anything like that because that will take too long. And essentially, you're trying to hit these headshots or convert on these headshots because that's the only way you win that matchup. If you just get in a swing battle where you're both spraying, you're actually going to lose that matchup because you do less damage per second. Now, the second thing you could do, of course, is just to take longer fights, and the only way you're going to be able to know whether or not someone has a Stinger or not is just look at their economy, and if their economy is not in a full buying stage, then traditionally you want to position further away anyways, and against the Stinger it's no different. Now, the next gun that we got to directly compare the Phantom to is, of course, the Vandal, and unlike the Phantom, the Vandal only fires 9.75 rounds in a second. However, it does 40 damage flat from any range, but from that 0 to 15 meters, the Vandal is actually gonna only be doing 390 damage per second in the body, while the Phantom is doing 429, which is quite a big difference, and it's gonna be really important. A lot of times, if you're using the Vandal and you run up on a Phantom user and you fire first and the Phantom fires right afterwards, the Phantom can actually kill you before you kill them because of their fast rate of fire. And as a Phantom user, that's something that you can abuse. Now, that being said, from that 15 to 30 meter range, you're gonna be about the same damage as the Vandal, and from that 30 meters plus range, you're gonna actually be doing less damage than the Vandal, so that's really important. Now, what really comes up a lot and what people ask is, okay, so I understand the stats, how do I win fights versus Vandals? Because I feel like every time I swing the corner, I just get dinked or I get shut down, and it feels like I can't win with this Phantom. But the thing is, pros are using the Phantom far more, and the Phantom is incredibly powerful if you abuse what it's good at without trying to get in duels against Vandals when you're challenging what they're strong at. So let me explain exactly what you need to be doing. The first thing that you need to understand is that close range swing battles are automatically going to be favoring you. The Vandal is a lot more punishing with recoil control, spray transfer, and just swinging in general because you have to be perfectly accurate on that first shot or your bullets can get completely away from you. This is why it's far better to actually be playing more quickly on a Phantom up against the Vandal rather than slow and methodically. Now, we already went over why you should just be setting up closer engagements in general, but the second big tip that I got for you is don't get into tap battles. And this is the exact opposite tip that I gave when I gave the Vandal guide, where you should be tapping a lot more on Vandal. Use it like a Guardian that has a little bit more flexibility. The Phantom doesn't want to be getting in tap battles all that much. Not only is it far easier for you to control, but honestly, you can typically get a cluster of at least 4 or 5 bullets that are reasonably placed before you lose control of the weapon, and even then, it's a lot easier to control that recoil than it is on a Vandal. This means committing to a lot of these spray battles and heavily punishing Vandal users that don't hit that first shot and want to either tap fire you or try to control their spray. Because remember, if they slow down to tap fire but you perfectly commit on your spray, you're going to be able to kill them before they get that second shot off. And if they try to control their spray into a headshot, statistically, you're going to be able to do that far more, especially with a little bit of practice, because it's far easier on the Phantom. Now, moving on, let's talk about some huge actionable actionable tips and big takeaways that you could start incorporating on the Phantom in general to just get you more value straight up and give you a better chance of climbing on the Phantom. Now, the first thing I hear often is players be like, oh, well, if you headshot on the Vandal, it always kills, and I've lost so many times where I headshotted an enemy and they got away because I didn't kill them. Well, the big takeaway that you need to understand is that not only does a headshot just completely jar the enemy with that knockback, but headshots should almost always equal death for the enemy. You see, all you have to do is wallbang and spray to follow up, because once you get that headshot, the enemy are gonna be one body shot away from just instant death, and sometimes even a leg shot away. This means you can spray the cover that they're holding behind, you can spray their general area, you can unload an entire clip, and 99% of the time, you're gonna get that kill. But I see way too many low-ranked players just not spray. They don't spray enough to shut down that person. That person gets out at 1 HP, and that person basically makes a flank play or uses their utility or their ultimate or whatever the case may be to get some value on the table when they should actually be dead because you headshot them and you had them dead to rights if all you did was spray. Now, the next big actionable tip that I'm going to give you is how to control your spray and how you should be taking these duels from further away. So the big problem I see a lot with Phantom users is they understand that it's pretty easy to control that spray and even to spray into headshots. So they'll turn a corner, they'll crouch, and they'll start trying to spray an enemy down, and they'll just keep spraying, keep spraying, keep spraying. Now, not only does this cut off your form of mobility to potentially jiggle behind natural cover, take some accurate shots, and then leave, but it also really decreases your time to kill unless you perfectly headshot that enemy. And the thing is, it really does give Vandal users that opportunity to really easily line up that shot because you're not insta-headshotting them. And when you're crouched and stationary, it is so easy to headshot you. You might as well just be a training bot in the damn training room. And I'm sure you know how easy those are to hit because you're not moving and you're just staying there, just making the enemy not able to move, so they're perfectly accurate, and you're not killing them instantly, so they're just gonna fire back and kill you right away. Here's what you should be doing instead. Start the spray from long distance, and if you connect with a certain amount of body shots, usually anywhere from 1 to 3, then you can decide whether or not you're gonna commit. If you don't hit any at all, don't commit to a crouch. Don't make yourself stationary. If it's gonna take a ton of effort and have low probability of paying off to try to convert that really messed up spray right off the bat. This often happens when someone swings out and they didn't fully counter strafe, or they're actually moving when they take that first shot. The recoil is completely messed up. They try to commit to a crouch and bring it back with recoil control. That is the exact worst thing that you could possibly be doing because you're talking about controlling a spray, and the thing is, there's RNG involved, random number generator, and that means that there's no 100% guarantee that you're going to be able to connect with any amount of shots. However, you become increasingly more likely to connect with some shots as every single second goes by, or every single half second, a quarter second, or 10th a second, but it's not going to be 100%, and you don't want to have to fire 5 bullets to hit one body shot, another 5 bullets hit another body shot, another 5 bullets hit another body shot. Do you see how long your time to kill creeps to when you start incorporating this strategy? So definitely make sure that you're not committing to these crouches unless your spray is under control and the start off of your spray is actually really accurate. Now, that being said, however, this is the strategy that you incorporate from longer ranges, but closer ranges, it can be fundamentally different. A lot of times, you're almost guaranteed a kill if you swing an enemy that is not expecting you. You swing, insta-crouch, and pre-aim upward, because a lot of times, their crosshair is going to be head level. By the time they adjust, you already burst them down, and you never give them enough time to basically adjust their crosshair and kill you, and it really messes up that initial shots for them. Now, there's really 2 important things you need to understand about this. First off, it's going to work far better at closer range and never do it at further range like we already talked about, but pretty much that closer range is gonna mess them up a lot because not only are you swinging far out, but the crouching movement is gonna be much more jarring, and they're gonna have to be flicking further if they want to correct for that. And 2, this is gonna work better the higher in rank you go because players that have better and better crosshair placement, this is gonna punish them more. But lazy crosshair placement that's already around the body level, you might just be swinging right into them getting that perfect headshot where otherwise they wouldn't have got it at all. Now, the next big thing that you need to think about when starting to use that Phantom is you got to be abusing the spray through smoke aspect of it because it's a silence weapon and it's one of the only 3 silence weapons in the game. However, this one is incredibly lethal, and the problem with silence ghost and silence specters is a lot of times you'll be doing some damage, but your time to kill is not definitive enough, and a lot of times enemies will take some damage and be able to get out unless you actually invest a substantial amount of spray. But the Phantom is not quite like that because its time to kill is very, very high because each individual bullet does quite a bit of damage. Now, this means you should almost always be returning fire on bullets that you see go through the smoke. Whether they're bulldogs, vandals, or any bullet that goes through the smoke, you can really easily see where it's coming from and just simply spray back an entire volley, at least like 10 to 20 rounds in your magazine. Now, it can also just be used generally when you're holding a site and you smoke off an access point just to prevent enemies from getting in your smoke to set up a flash play, to swing out, dash out with the judge, whatever the case may be. You're gonna shut that shit down right away. As an additional tip, if you want to actually set up some really cheeky kills, go on your mini map when you're hiding behind a smoke and ping on the map where you think an enemy is gonna be holding. Whatever angle that you would normally be pre-firing, ping that on the map and just spray through that with the Phantom, and I guarantee you're gonna get kill after kill. Watch Tanner on his stream, and he does it all the freaking time in Radiant, where he just gets some free kills because he just pings on the map and then just sprays with the Phantom. Now, the last thing that you need to master if you want to take your Phantom level to the higher tiers is you need to master the counter strafe battle, and you need to create counter strafe battles because you have better counter strafe ability than the enemy. What this essentially is you're jiggling around the corner and you're counter strafing, hitting a perfect bullet of shots, a perfect burst of shots, and then you're counter strafing back outside of natural cover. You can do that again and again and again, and the idea here is if you and the enemy are jiggling back and forth, if you have perfect counter strafing every single time, you're going to be getting more consistent damage across, while the enemy who's trying to jiggle out in the same way that you are is just missing and missing and missing. And if they stand their ground, you can easily just jiggle peek it pre-fire and just shut them down out of nowhere. Mastering counter strafing is honestly the true secret to mastering these battles, so it's definitely one of the most fundamental skills that you need to hone if you want to bring your rank up to Diamond, Immortal, or even Radiant. But go to the GameLeap.com website right now for in-depth counter strafing guides, mechanical guides, map guides, agent guides. I mean, we got it all. Do yourself a favor, go check it out in the links down below. But thank you so much for coming by. Definitely let us know in the comments down below what video you want to see. That's all I got for you today. I'm Coach Mills, and of course, until next time.